Okay, so I know that Pokémon Scarlet and Violet have only been out for a little while, and we're gonna get back to talking about what's in those games really quickly, but in this video, I really needed to talk about something that is very apparent in these games that seems to be hinting at the next Pokémon games that are going to follow Scarlet and Violet. It's a very interesting thing that I wouldn't talk about if there wasn't a ton going on here, so without further ado, let's just go ahead and dive right in. So as always, I am super grateful to even be here at all bringing you guys content, and that is made possible thanks in part to sponsors, like today's sponsor, Atlas VPN. With Atlas VPN, you can enjoy all the amazing stuff that the internet has to offer, while at the same time being protected from all of the shady stuff. Atlas VPN protects your important info while you're online and blocks any kind of suspicious link or malware and lets you know when someone is trying to steal your data. It also has a ton of other benefits outside of just protection though, such as allowing you to get better prices while buying stuff online, which can sometimes be affected by your location, allowing you to access the global library of any streaming service, which can also be limited by location, and it even allows for organic search engine results that won't be affected by your online activity. Atlas also has the best VPN deal on the market, allowing you to protect an unlimited number of devices on just one subscription, which is only $1.70 a month for a 3-year plan, with 6 months currently being added on for free as well. And it even comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so if you're curious, you can at least give it a shot and see if it's for you. And you can check all of this out by using the link at the top of my description, which again will get you all of Atlas VPN's features for just $1.70 a month with 6 months for free. So go ahead and take advantage of all that the internet has to offer and protect yourself at the same time with Atlas VPN, and a big thank you to them for supporting the channel. So like I said, I know it's pretty stereotypical at this point to look for hints in new Pokemon games at what's going to be coming next. It's a thing that you see a lot here on YouTube, and I know it's also really early in Scarlet and Violet's lifespan, but my gosh, guys, like, there is something going on in Scarlet and Violet that just cannot be ignored as far as I'm concerned, and I wanted to talk about it in this video. What is that, you might ask? Well, I am fully convinced at this point that either the next game or an upcoming game soon after Scarlet and Violet, somewhere in the near future, there is going to be a Johto game of some kind that is going to come out, and Scarlet and Violet are hinting at it very heavily. You guys are going to have to let me know whether or not you buy all of this in the comments below, but basically I'm just going to go through everything that I have noticed in these games and why they personally convince me that something Johto related is coming in the near future. First off, however, before we actually get into any of that, it's important that we give all of this a little bit of context. And that context is that Johto, right now, is currently the region that has not been seen in a game of its own in the longest amount of time. It has been since Generation 4 in Heart Gold and Soul Silver where we have seen a Johto-based game. And every other region other than that, including Kanto, thanks to Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, has been seen more recently, and as such, it does seem reasonable to believe that it is due for a revisit, similar to the way that they revisited Kanto a second time, even though those games already had a remake in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee in Gen 7. This is an argument that my good friend Birdkeeper Toby has made in some of his videos, so shout out to him, but basically, even though we already have had a Johto remake, just like we had a Kanto remake, the Pokemon Company definitely want to keep all of the regions relevant so that they can continue to utilize things from those regions, such as in the anime, in merchandise, and so on. It would basically just be a really sound business practice from the Pokemon Company's perspective, because that way they would be protecting their investment and all the time and money they spent to build up this part of the Pokemon world, which is obviously interconnected to all of the other parts, and they obviously want to keep the whole world relevant and not just any one particular region. And with that context in mind, let's go ahead and look at the actual evidence that is in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. First off, there is a huge, ginormous Johto presence in this game. Amongst the Paldea region Pokedex, I personally counted 38 Johto Pokemon that are included in this regional Pokedex, which accounts for exactly 38% of the entire Johto Pokedex, which is a huge chunk for any region, let alone one like Johto that has a smaller Pokedex. Additionally, it's not just Johto Pokemon being present that's significant here. It's Johto Pokemon being present in the new fancy forms that these games have introduced. And I do need to give a spoiler warning before we go any further, because we're going to get into spoilers here, so you've been warned. But basically, not only do we have Johto Pokemon in the Paldean forms, in the form of Paldean Wooper, but there's also a significant presence of Johto Pokemon in the newly introduced Paradox Pokemon, including Paradox Delibird, 2 forms of Paradox Donphan, Paradox Tyranitar, and Paradox Misdreavus. This makes for a total of 5 Johto Paradox Pokemon, which is the largest representation in the Paradox Pokemon group out of any other region in existence. Additionally, since I mentioned Wooper, one of the only 2 traditional regional variants that were introduced in these games is of a Johto Pokemon, and that of course being Wooper. And also another thing that happened with Wooper in this game that is another huge Johto focus that's in these titles is Johto Pokemon getting new evolutions. Wooper got a new evolution into Clodsire, and Dunsparce and Girafarig are also Johto Pokemon that were given evolutions in these games as well. This kind of special treatment for the Johto region even extends back a little earlier this year into Pokemon Legends Arceus, where we also saw Stantler, Ursaring, and Quillfish all get evolutions of their own too. That is a huge amount of representation for any one region in any one game, especially because these games don't seem to have anything to do with the Johto region whatsoever. So it definitely does seem like they are giving Johto a bit of favoritism here, possibly in order to gear up for an upcoming Johto title of some kind that's going to be coming out in the near future. However, if you're a cynical person, you might just chalk all of this up to coincidence and might not think it means anything whatsoever. However, there is one more piece of evidence here that kind of ties this all together and really seals the deal for me and says that there is definitely something going on, and it all has to do with the music of these games. The music of the hometown theme in Scarlet and Violet, Cabo Poco, actually begins with the intro to the theme of New Barktown, which is of course the hometown in the Johto games. So with the huge Johto focus that is going on in these games, including the presence of Johto Pokemon in these games' brand new forms, do you really think it's any coincidence that we're also getting Johto representation in the music of Scarlet and Violet too? I asked myself that same question, and the answer was a resounding no. It might have been a coincidence if one or the other was present, but both of these happening together in the same games is definitely not an accident as far as I'm concerned, and definitely indicates something Johto related is probably going to happen within Generation 9. As far as what that could be though, that's where it gets a little blurrier, and there are a couple different options for what we could see. in my opinion, the most realistic option at this point in time seems to be Pokemon Legends Johto, because of course Pokemon Legends Arceus was wildly successful. I'm sure Game Freak are aware of how beloved that game was, and with that game being Sinnoh focused and Sinnoh having such a connection to Johto as well, it definitely seems like that would be a fitting way to go, especially since Johto is a region that is already so focused on the past already. And of course, with Scarlet and Violet being games that are focused on the concept of time, it would make a lot of sense for a period piece type of game like this to come out that is set in the past. Johto is even home to Celebi, who is of course a time travel Pokemon, so I feel like all of this lines up perfectly, and I really hope it does go this way, but we definitely want to consider all options at the same time. There is also the possibility that Let's Go Johto could be a thing, but I feel like we're far enough removed from Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee that probably won't happen, and also is not really the thing that I would prefer either, even though I enjoyed the Let's Go games. However, there is one other possible option that is, like Legends Johto, legitimately possible in my mind, and that could be the case that maybe all of this Johto representation is symbolic, meaning that Scarlet and Violet are going to do something similar to what the Johto games themselves did, like, for instance, feature a second region. It could be possible that maybe we'll see something Johto-esque like that in a DLC for Scarlet and Violet, where maybe we get to go to a part of the Kalos region or something along those lines, and you get some Johto vibes basically going on with some future content that is going to be coming out in this game. So the Johto representation is symbolic of that instead of being indicative of a whole new game. That and Legends Johto, I personally feel like, are the most likely options, but I feel like one of them is most likely going to happen because, like I said, I just don't think all of this would be happening in the same game if it didn't mean anything. And I think, like I said, the music in particular really kind of ties the bow and seals the deal on this. But what do you guys think? Does this convince you that we're getting something Johto related in Generation 9? Possibly a Legends Johto game or something else? Let me know down in the comments below, and be sure to leave the video a like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you're new for more. I will be back with another new video very soon, so until then, as always, thank you guys so much for watching this one. I really, really appreciate it, and I will smell you guys later.